Thank you so much for talking with us today.
Thank you for having us.
First thing I wanted to ask you is, you recently submitted a proposal to your Congress that will potentially create a autonomous Muslim region in Mindanao.
Mindanao, yes.
And I was wondering, how will this bill restructure the regional government there? And why do you see this particular proposal as a solution to the ongoing Muslim separatist campaign?
But the major problems, I guess, roots in the social-cultural system that exists there. We have a very strong presidency. It was, and then you have a very strong regional governor in the current system. If you have a good regional governor, then it can really be such an instrument of change. Unfortunately, for the most part, they are more concentrated on advancing the clan, or if at all the tribe, to the detriment of the rest of the stakeholders. The major difference in this proposed new mode is it's more parliamentary, or more of a parliamentarship, wherein most of the power, if not all of the power, really resides within the parliament, which has 40% directly elected, 50% directly elected, 50% party list systems, 10% of this reserved for indigenous and women's groups. And the chief minister, who becomes the head of this unit, has to respond to all of the stakeholders all the time, instead of really taking care of a clan or a tribe. That's the major feature. Now, the previous system was so prone to abuse.
On another security-related note, your Foreign Affairs Minister, Del Rosario,
yes,
is scheduled to meet with the UN General Secretary in just a few days because of the incident between Filipino peacekeepers,
yes,
and Syrian rebels.
Right.
And I was wondering what you see, given the volatility of the Middle East region, the role of Filipino peacekeepers in that area going forward, and can the UN continue to be a proper framework for the important mission that the Filipino peacekeepers were carrying out?
Well, the Philippines has been part of the UN peacekeeping missions for quite a number of decades, including, if I remember correctly, a problem in Kenya in the 60s. Okay. Now, we want to contribute toward peace. We have 10 million of our population outside of our borders, which means that any incident around the world, we are affected. Hence, there is really a parochial need to be able to try and stabilize the situation throughout the country. Can the UN continue to be a viable force? Yes. But perhaps in this particular case, we brought up the issues in the Golan Heights a year and a half ago. And we wanted differences in the rules of engagement, more delineation, the parameters of that engagement, so that our troops would have a defined mission and a doable mission. Unfortunately, it seems the events have transpired faster than the ability to change the operating environment.
And then, regarding your domestic agenda, your government has invested billions of dollars in infrastructure and development programs for the more rural areas of your country. And how do you see those projects in terms of a long-term economic growth strategy for your country through the end of your presidency and then beyond?
But number one, we're an archipelago, 7,100 islands. The need for interconnectivity is so intense. We have, like a lot of developing countries, so much need for infrastructure. I'll give you one, for instance. The current nautical highway, combination of roads and roll-on-roll-off ports, needs between 2.5 to 3 days to connect the northern portion of the country, Luzon, with Mindanao. The new proposal is to come up with a new route that bisects what we call the spine of the country, reduces travel time from 2.5 to 3 days to 15 hours. Now, the produce, therefore, that exists, we have problems with the cold storage chain. So a 15-hour trip is a lot better to bring the produce, for instance, from Mindanao to Luzon, which is the biggest market. Tourism is seen as a major source of income for our countrymen. We inherited foreign tourist arrivals, a number of 3 million per year. We're doing 5 million this year. We think we'll do 10 million by 2016 when I step down. Hence, you need all of the airports, you need the roads to access the tourist sites. We're building 8. We're either building or improving 8 of our airports. And we're doing a stopgap measure for the one that services the National Capital Region once we come up with a plan for the even bigger airport. So, bottom line is, all of this infrastructure is geared towards making the growth in the economy more inclusive, which means farm-to-market roads, which means, again, the cold storage chain, and the whole gamut of facilities that our people don't have at the present time.
And then, final question. The mission here at the IOP is to inspire undergraduate students to pursue careers in public service.
Yes.
And what would you say to inspire students?
Well, I think I heard it here in Boston, if I'm not mistaken, from another Filipino who used to be the bureau chief of Agence France Presse in the Philippines. And he said, to have the strength of the youth and the wisdom of the old. You know, bottom line is, when you're young, your whole life is ahead of you, and you really are the motive force to those older than you to challenge the status quo. So the bottom line is, if you don't do your share, then you actually will probably preserve the status quo, which probably is in need of improvement, no matter how developed you are. So by opting not to participate, then you leave your fate to the rest, when you can actually contribute a year, 2 years to help your fellow man. So it really, to me, it does make sense. Devote, if not your entire life, a portion of it. And at the end of the day, when you get to the point that you're no longer part of the youth, you can look back and say, I'm leaving something better than what I found.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.